Okay, so in this video, this is going to be an interesting one. Well, first off, it has been almost a year since the last thing I recorded and uploaded to this channel, which was a video in which I demonstrated a vintage computer that I have that was running Windows 98 at the time. And if you remember that video, or, well, it was actually a recording, an audio recording, but I mentioned that I was trying to get it downgraded back to Windows 95, and I managed to do that. So if you want to see a video of Windows 95 on that computer, that was once the Windows 98 computer, just let me know in the comments. Anyway, yeah, by the way, this will not be edited. I'm too lazy to kind of like go through that entire process, so anything that happens is staying in this video. If I mess up, oh well. Anyway, that's enough with the intro. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is demonstrating a macOS 10.4 virtual machine. So macOS 10.4 Tiger was released in 2005, and it's really interesting because, well, first off, it's really difficult to get working in a virtual machine, and it took me several months to try to get it working, and I finally got it working, and now I figured I would demonstrate it. Now, there is one thing to note. It is a PowerPC emulation because macOS 10.4 is based on the PowerPC architecture. So PowerPC emulation isn't exactly very stable, so the audio is a bit glitchy, but it does work. So this will be just an interesting little, I guess, random video of me just going through different things in 10.4, and I can just demonstrate some of the older text-to-speech as well as the older voiceover sounds, because the voiceover sounds were actually quite different compared to the new voiceover sounds. So yeah, this will be interesting. So the software I use is called UTM. It's free and open source, and it's accessible with voiceover. So let's go ahead and open UTM.
Spotlight. UTM. Application. Close button. UTM. Vertical. Welcome to create a new virtual machine. Browse user support. Search welcome. Vertical sidebar. Inside Mac OS 10.4. Mac 99 base.
Mac OS 10.4.
UTM window. Toolbar. Virtual tool prep Mac full screen. UTM voiceover off.
Now, when putting the virtual machine on, you just have to click it and then put it in full screen. It's important to turn off voiceover on the host OS. That's not necessarily important when you use a Windows virtual machine, but when you use a macOS virtual machine and expect to use voiceover in the virtual machine, you have to turn off voiceover on your host OS. Otherwise, it will try to navigate through your actual main Mac interface instead of the macOS virtual machine, if that makes sense. Okay, I think it turned on, but like I said, the glitchy audio doesn't necessarily help. But this is voiceover in macOS 10.4 Tiger. Now, this kind of works similarly to voiceover in modern macOS versions, except that it doesn't exactly tell you, like, it doesn't give you the navigation hint like modern voiceover does, but it still has the same navigation. You use Control and Option to navigate, and you use the arrows, and you can still, a lot of the traditional voiceover commands did exist in this version of macOS. So this is voiceover in macOS 10.4.
3 items.
Now, like I said, keep in mind this virtual machine is a bit glitchy, so the audio is not very good, unfortunately. I've tried to fix it, but there's nothing that can be done about it as of right now until they update the software.
But back. 3 items. Keep arranged image. No changes image. Icon view. Splitter.
So we can press Command Q. Actually, that's not going to work. Let's go to the About This Mac window, because that's where things are interesting, actually.
Apple menu. About This Mac. About This Mac window. Version 10.4.6.
Yeah, this is macOS 10.4.6.
Version. Startup disk.
I'm going back through the...
Nitrox software. TM and Max 500. Mac more info button. All rights version 10.4.6 image.
Yeah, the audio is not doing very well.
Image. Software update button. Processor. 900 megahertz PowerPC G3.
So this is emulating a PowerPC G3 processor. So basically an iMac G3 or, well, an iBook G3. I think they have the same processor, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know, actually. But this is a PowerPC vintage Mac 99 emulator.
Memory 512 MB. Startup disk Macintosh HD. More info button. TM1983-2006 Apple Computer Inc.
Yeah, this was when it was Apple Computer. Back then, it was actually Apple Computer Incorporated. Now it's just Apple Incorporated, but the company at the time was actually Apple Computer. So those are the differences. You can kind of hear the difference. I know the bad audio doesn't really help very much, but you can hear the difference a little bit in how the voiceover sounds are quite a bit different. The navigation sounds compared to what you're used to in modern macOS with like the modern voiceover versions. This is way different.
Macintosh startup disk 500 memory 900 processor software image version 10. All right. TM and 1.
So that is that. Let's go into the speech options now, and we can hear some of the different how the voices are different compared to modern versions.
Splitter. About this software macOS system preferences. For back. Scroll area. Blank. Search show all but blank. Scroll up. Interact. Universal act. Personal. Appearance. But dashboard and desktop and dock. But internet security. Spotlight. Hardware. CDs and DVD displays. Energy saving button. Keyboard and mouse. Print and sound. But internet. Mac network. QuickTime sharing. System. Accounts. Date and time. Soft speech button. Button.
So let's go into speech in system preferences.
Back but help button with recognition sound playlist sound pop-up button play with replay speak command acknowledgement unchecked checkbox.
I haven't actually gone through some of the text-to-speech options before, so this is interesting.
Speak command upon recognition. Computer keyword required before each command. Keyword state.
Oh, this is
listening method change escape listening key external microphone commands settings select off on radio speakable items text to speech tab to speech recognition text to express.
Interesting. I did not know macOS Tiger had speech recognition. I thought that was introduced in Leopard, but I guess not. That's interesting.
Text.
Anyway, what we're interested in is the text-to-speech. We're going to go through some of the voices and see how they're slightly different compared to their modern counterparts.
System voice, Vicky. System voice, pop-up button. Menu, on, Vicky, Victoria, mail, de Bruce.
Yeah, the audio is not very, very good.
Bruce, Fred, Jr.
So obviously this is Fred. This is the default voice the voiceover is also using. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad, so hopefully you can get a clear thing of the example.
Bruce, Fred, Menu, Jr., Ralph.
This is
Ralph, speak 49, play, slow, play button, press, play button, press, play.
Oh, voiceover
button.
is interfering.
The sum of the squares of the legs of a right triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse.
Yeah, so majorly different compared to newer versions. Now, this is version 10.4.6, and I believe they actually updated this with 10.4.11. they updated the text-to-speech a little bit more. It was not a major update compared to the update from Tiger to Leopard. The text-to-speech changed quite a bit again. And I actually also have a macOS 10.5 Leopard virtual machine in UTM as well, if you would like to see that being demonstrated as well. Anyway, let's go through some more of the options.
Ralph, System Ralph, Menu, Novelty, Albert,
Yeah, the audio is not very well. It's
Shell Bubbles, Shellos, Deranged, Good News.
I think the virtual machine has never actually crashed before, but the audio sounds like it's going to crash, but that's just due to the PowerPC emulation. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can really be done about that. PowerPC emulation, this is a pretty modern MacBook too. It's a 2023 M3 MacBook Pro. So it has a lot of power, but it's just that the PowerPC emulation uses a lot of resources, even with a powerful processor, and nothing can really be done about that as of right now.
Bubbles, bells, bad news.
Let's listen to one of the novelty voices.
Bad
This is one of my favorite ones, except the audio is really bad.
The light you see at the end of the tunnel is the headlamp of a fast approaching train.
Isn't that just such a cool concept? This back in the 90s actually, starting with what was called the Plain Talk synthesizer in macOS System 7. This is actually, or no, it wasn't macOS at the time. It was Macintosh System 7. And these voices were introduced as Plain Talk all the way throughout macOS 8 and macOS 9. And then that was when, starting with macOS 10, they switched over to using the Macintalk name, the Macintalk branding for the synthesizer. But Plain Talk sounds pretty similar to this, actually. It wasn't a major update from Plain Talk to macOS, all the way up to macOS 10.4.6, until starting with macOS 10.4.11. That's when it updated very slightly, but not much. It's a very slight difference. But yeah. Let's go through a few more of the voices, and then that will be the end of this video.
Speaking rate, bad news system, bad news menu, on bad news bar, boing, bells, boing.
They changed some of the voice lines as well. They are slightly different for...
Bubbles.
This is an interesting one. This is one where they also had the older voice lines.
Speaking for the play, but play button. Speaking bubbles menu, cellos, deranged cellos.
The novelty voices are probably, I want to say, my favorite part about the macOS text-to-speech.
For the speaking for play button. Do da do da dum dee dee do dee do dum 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 do da do da do da do da do da do da do.
Now, I don't know if this works in macOS Tiger, but I know it works in macOS Leopard. Let's find out. But if you change the pitch of the voice when using something like one of the singing voices like cello or pipe organ or like one of those singing voices, it will actually change the pitch of the notes that the voice kind of like sings with. So if there's pitch controls here, I will demonstrate.
Speaking rate, speaking cellos, system voice, text to speech recognition, text, cello, speak 49 play button, slow, normal, fast, announce when alert, set alert.
Okay, it seems like in the main text-to-speech options, unfortunately, there's no way to actually change the pitch. So we'll have to do that with VoiceOver itself, the VoiceOver utility.
Fast, norm, slow, play button, 49 speaking, cellos, menu, on, cellos, female, fret,
Let's close out of here.
text, speech, show, for back, text, open to change, open to have clock, set, speaks, announce, set, announce, fast, normal, slow, play,
Maybe I can just do Command Q. Yeah, that works.
icon view, splitter,
Let's go to VoiceOver utility.
icon, splitter, icon view, scroll area, activity, airport, voiceover utility, open finder item,
Yeah, the audio is glitching again. There's
voiceover,
nothing that can be done about that, unfortunately. Okay, let's change to one of those voices, and then we can change the pitch, and you'll be able to hear the difference.
verbosity, navigation, voices, nav voices, tap voices, display, pronoun, voice, rate, pitch, volume, show addition, pitch, rate, voices, volume, show addition, default voice, fret, menu, on, fret, cellos.
Here we go.
Nothing is as powerful as an idea whose time has come.
That's, I guess, what the sample text is that it uses when you change the VoiceOver voice. Also, the interesting thing about macOS, the Macintalk TTS, is Mac Alex actually was not introduced until macOS 10.5 Leopard. That's another interesting thing about this text-to-speech in early macOS versions. Yeah, it's skipping really bad.
Volume, pitch, rate, pitch. Rate, pitch, higher, or lower. Show additional voice options.
So you can change the pitch and it will actually make a difference.
Higher, show additional voice, higher, show additional voice options button.
And you know what's really funny about these ones is they can actually get much higher pitch in older macOS versions. Like newer macOS versions, it seems like they put like limits on that, but in older versions it can actually get really high pitch, and it's really funny.
Normal.
Let's switch back to
Show a default, show volume, shallow, menu, on, spread.
First, let's actually switch to
Grid pipe organ,
This is-
organ. Nothing is as powerful as an idea whose time has come.
That's so cool. Now
Pitch,
we can change the pitch again, and if the sound would
pop up button, higher, low, normal, 35, rater.
I like the normal pitch in OS 10.4 better, but
Pitch, volume, count, reset, count, 50, pipe port.
anyway, let's switch back.
Show default, pipe port, menu, pipe port, good, red.
And the audio is acting up again. But anyway, you get the basic idea. If you want to see more of anything in macOS 10.4, in this macOS 10.4 Tiger virtual machine, despite the bad audio, let me know in the comments. And I also have, like I said, a macOS 10.5 Leopard PowerPC virtual machine as well. So unfortunately, the audio is just as bad. Maybe it's actually a little bit better in macOS Leopard. So if you want to see a demonstration of the macOS 10.5 Leopard virtual machine, just let me know in the comments. Or any other computer that I have several computers and electronics in this room. I could make an entire video, and I know I actually have said that I'm going to do that. I just have to figure out exactly how I need to set things up. One of my computers actually does not currently have an operating system on it. The hard drive is completely formatted, so I need to put something on it. I'm planning on putting Windows XP on that computer probably. Windows XP would fit that computer perfectly. It's a 2009 computer. But anyway, if you want to see any of those other computers, like the vintage computer that is now running Windows 95, or the 2009 computer once it gets Windows XP on it, or anything else in older or newer versions of macOS on my Mac computer, or anything, just let me know in the comments and I will record a video of that. I should start recording. You should expect more videos from me soon on this channel, because now I've figured things out a little bit easier, and now I have a better way to actually also. Before, I was using an external device to record, and then I would transfer it over to a flash drive, and then transfer that over to my computer, and then over to my phone, and it was just a process. Now I have easier ways to record and upload it directly to YouTube from my computer. So,
It is 10 o'clock p.m.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, I have so much stuff going on all at once. Anyway, let's go ahead and shut down this virtual machine. Oh, wait. I think I just pressed Command Q and it just closed the entire UTM window. Let me turn VoiceOver back on.
VoiceOver on Finder.
It did.
QuickTime Finder. QuickTime Finder.
Well, that's interesting.
QuickTime.
It's not typically supposed to shut down like that. In fact, let me open it just to make sure it didn't crash, because I think it did.
Spotlight. UTM. Vertical splitter. Welcome. Sidebar.
I think it did.
YouTube. Close button. Finder.
Well, that was actually really weird. Anyway, I guess it's shut down. That wasn't exactly how I was expecting it to shut down, but it
Desktop.
did.
Empty. QuickTime Player. Character palette. QuickTime Player.
Well, like I said, that's it for this video. If you want to see any more videos, most of them will obviously be audio recordings, but, well, if you're completely blind like me, then that doesn't really matter. Okay, Google.
Focus. Sleep. On. Group. QuickTime Player has no windows.
Turn off. Yeah, I had some sort of thing going. It was like some weird, like, notification thing. Anyway, before a bunch more random stuff goes off in here, I should end this video.
Apple. QuickTime File. Menu. 14 items. Closing menu.